What is up, Bills Mafia? We have 325 days to go, 272 days. We have 263 days. We have 240 days to go. We have 198. We have 154 days. We have 97 days to go. We have 89 days to go. We have 86 days to go until the Buffalo Bills win Super Bowl 57.
And now it is time for the only channel dedicated to counting down the days until the Buffalo Bills win Super Bowl 57.
I just don't know if they're gonna make it. I'm done.
What is up, Bills Mafia? We have 74 days to go. That's right, 74 days to go until the Buffalo Bills win Super Bowl 57. This channel is going to document every single day leading up to that amazing moment with the video. Yes, sir. I've been doing it for, been doing it for like 285 days straight now. I've not missed a night. Leading up to that magical moment when you and I get to see the Buffalo Bills win the Super Bowl. I can't tell you just what that will mean to me as, it'll be amazing. It'll be absolutely, positively amazing. And I can't wait. Trying to do a little maintenance here on the... I'm not ting-a-ting-a-ting-a-ling. All right. Trying to get my bottom half chat thing going, so if you guys say anything, I can pop it up. Glad the Sabres can kill a 5-3 lead. Yes. They won it in overtime, but that is just pathetic. They were leading 5-3 against the Lightning and lost, and they were leading tonight 4-1. But they won. They got it. All right. And there's that comment right there. All right, I got it working. But we're not here to, of course, talk about the Sabres. We're here to talk about the Buffalo Bills, baby. A lot of things going to be happening over the next 72 hours. I'm telling you, some big news is going to come. We're going to get shocked. This team, Brandon Beane, what does Brandon Beane like to do? He likes to just throw a curveball at us, doesn't he? Whether it's free agency or the draft or in March and the whatever's going on with the Bills, the roster and everything, Brandon Beane just seems to be the type that likes to pull something out of his hat. So we're going to talk about that briefly here. You know what I'm talking about. Talking about the OBJ visit coming up. I'm going to give you my thoughts on that, whether or not I think that's a good idea, what I think OBJ could do if he does come to the Bills, and I'd like to hear from you guys. That's what I really want to do. I want to hear from you guys because my football knowledge is limited. I really got to lean on some of you guys. You guys help me out all the time, set me straight often, and so let's get some dialogue going back and forth here. So real quick, just hello to Joe and Noah. Great to see you guys here hanging out with me. Got a few more people. I think Kobe's here. I think Mr. F is here. The mainstays, the all-star lineup that I have with this live stream. The all-stars are here, so I appreciate that. And going back to my Brandon Beane comment, Noah says, depends on the season. Sometimes he's conservative. Sometimes he's aggressive. Yeah, I agree. Because like at the trade deadline, that's a whole nother part of the, GM actions that can be taken was the trade deadline. And I don't think Brandon Beane went crazy at all. I mean, he did make a trade, got Naheem Hines. Am I saying that name right? Which is a whole other topic of conversation, and I've got my take on that too. But he didn't go crazy at the trade deadline. I was hoping to see Brandon Cooks come in from the Texans. Actually, even a little surprised we didn't get a wide receiver at the trade deadline like Brandon Cooks. There were a couple other guys out there, kind of names escaping me at the moment, but I think there was one dude we were hoping that we were going to get, and we didn't get. His name might pop into my mind here shortly. If you guys can think of it, let me know. But we got Hines, and I've got my take on Hines. We'll get to that in a second. I want to talk first about the Von Miller injury. Man, we are all hopeful that Von is, that he knows what he's talking about when it comes to his own injury. I don't know if you saw the Von cast and what he was saying about his injury, and he just seemed like a guy that was trying to be optimistic about his situation. But at the same time, I was kind of picking up on a little bit of disappointment in his voice. Like he was hoping that he was going to be good enough to go in 2 weeks. But, it's one thing to want something, and it's another thing to be able to get it. So when it comes to Von's injury, we're going to find out probably probably by the end of next week whether or not he can really, really suit up for the Jets game. I don't think he's going to be playing in the Jets game. Here's the deal. If he can play, I don't think he's playing in the Jets game, but if he can play on this knee, he will play after the Jets game. I could see him being held out of that, but if he and the doctors have all determined that he's not going to risk damaging the knee more, he can play on it, he can manage it, then I can see him coming back for the Dolphins game. If by the end of next week it's a situation where he cannot play on it and has to get surgery of some sort, even if it was the meniscus, I forget what it's called, but basically trimming away the damaged part, he's done. He's done, because you're going to be out from that type of surgery for 6 or 7 weeks, and that puts it right up to the AFC Championship game, Super Bowl, and he'll be done. He'll be done. He won't play. And he won't opt for that surgery, I don't think, because that is going to cause him, it's going to end up causing a situation with his knee where it's going to possibly wear his knee down faster over the last 3-4 years of his career. So what I'm trying to say is, if he opts for surgery, he's done. That's it. He'll get the full surgery, repair the meniscus, and he'll be back for training camp next year. But homeboy thinks he can go for the Jets game. I hope he knows what he's talking about. Any of these players do play on injuries like this, and if it's not too serious, they will make sure that he's as comfortable as possible while playing. And then the question is, like, how effective will he be if he's playing on a damaged meniscus? I think Von Miller in the lineup is better than not Von Miller in the lineup. So that's the Von Miller situation. It's still just a wait and see. It's still just wait and see. But you know what I was thinking, and I'm sure we all have, right? It's just like, why are we even talking about Von Miller's injury? Why? Why do we even have to sit here and contemplate what it's going to be like if he can come back? Why can't we just have a healthy Von Miller? Why do we have to have this conversation? It just drives me crazy as a Bills fan. But here is one thing I thought about that I think might be kind of neat. Let's just say he does come back for the Jets game, Dolphins game. Maybe he misses the rest of the regular season and he comes back for the playoffs. What a great storyline. You have this guy passionate about his craft, just a fantastic Hall of Fame player of stature who came to Buffalo. The dude just drives forward through the adversity, playing with pain, and the ultimate reward is our Von Miller and our Buffalo Bills win a Super Bowl trophy. And of course, who's going to hoist that trophy? Who's going to get the trophy first? After Goodell hands it to the coach is going to hand it straight to Von Miller. And can you picture that? Can you picture that moment in your mind right now? Right now, after Goodell, or I guess it's not Goodell, it's Jim Nantz or whatever, says what he says about the team, the players, everything, hands it to Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott's just all smiles. Can you imagine the big old smile on Sean McDermott's face, and I guess Bean would be up there with his sunglasses, and the Sean McDermott gets handed the trophy, and of course he talks about the perseverance of this football team. He talks about the injuries, and he talks about the ups and downs of the season and Josh Allen and what he had to go through. But then Sean McDermott says, but of all the things that made this season great, one of the greatest things is this man here, number 40, who is a living example of what Buffalo is all about. We take it on the chin, but rise up. We don't complain. We just go back at it. And Sean McDermott takes that trophy And he hands it to our boy Von Miller. Tears coming down Von Miller's face because this is the most meaningful Super Bowl that he's ever won. It was great to win it with Denver. It was fun winning it with the Rams. But this one will mean so much more to him because he had to sacrifice so much more to get in that position. And Von Miller takes that trophy. Not a man of many words, but he says what he says. We're just at home thinking, man, this was almost worth it. Almost worth our boy Von getting injured. So we could experience this moment. All right. Just want to throw that out there. That's part of it. Look at your comments here. Noah says, going to be tough. I think you're talking about him coming back from the injury. Absolutely. Going to be tough. Motor be like Harmon, a superstar when he leaves. All right. I think you're talking about Ronnie Harmon. All right, you guys are talking kind of strategy and X's and O's and what we're facing as we go forward here in the season. Can you believe we only have 6 games left? It's just crazy to me. All right. So, one of the other storylines, of course, right now is Von Miller recruiting his good buddy Odell Beckham Jr. to come to the Bills. All right. We all have our takes on that, and it changes. It changes daily for me, honestly, because I didn't care to have Odell Beckham in the beginning of the season. I didn't care if we got him or not because I thought we had the offense that could score just fine without him, just move the ball fine without him. But then it was kind of like, and I don't like OBJ's history, his past, his personality. Didn't like it. Still don't like it. But then after a while, I was thinking, you know what? Once Jamison Crowder basically disappeared from the offense. I mean, can't even say he disappeared because he was never even really there in the offense. And then I saw that Isaiah McKenzie really wasn't a suitable replacement for Cole Beasley in the slot. And then I saw that Gabe Davis, though still a very good receiver, can be a very good receiver, wasn't quite the receiver I thought he was going to be. I thought he was going to have a breakout season and be like a Justin Jefferson type of receiver. There are different types of receivers, but I thought our boy Gabe was going to have big numbers by now, big numbers, and he doesn't. So once I saw that we were not going to have a wide receiving group that was just tearing up the league outside of Diggs, not that we're bad, but once I saw that our receiving group probably could use a little bit of help, then I wanted a receiver. I didn't necessarily it didn't have to be OBJ, but I wanted them to go out and get something. And before the trade deadline, I was thinking maybe they would bring in a wide receiver. And there are some suitable receivers out there. There were anyway. And there is still one besides OBJ that I'm going to throw a name out here in a second. But I think there's a good chance we're going to get this guy. See if you can someone in the chat can say who I'm thinking of. But then I was like, you know what? If they're not gonna get a guy in the trade, Brandon Cooks is the one that really came to my mind. Then maybe OBJ would be a good fit here, or a help. I'm not so sure he'd be a good fit, but I think he would be helpful. I think he would improve the wide receiving core. He wouldn't hurt the wide receiving core. Still don't like the guy. So then trade deadline passes and we get Nyheim Hines. And then I've seen the injuries all through the roster. The safeties, the cornerbacks, the linebackers, defensive tackles. Notice I'm saying all defensive players so far, or defensive units. But then, of course, Josh Allen got hurt. Can't believe we haven't really had too many injuries on the offense. Spencer Brown's kind of been in and out. Of course, Deion Dawkins is out for tomorrow night. But I decided, okay, I want OBJ. Now I want OBJ. Get him in there. Get him in here. At least keep him off another roster. And then, what was it? Saturday night, Sunday morning happened where the dude refuses to get off an airplane. From what I understand, he just gave a flight attendant a hard time. Flight attendant came over. Hey, sir, I need you to put your seatbelt on. And from what it sounds like, he was like this on the plane. Basically, don't bother me. I'm OBJ. Now, reports are he was in and out of consciousness, so I assumed he was drunk. And it could be. I don't know if you guys got any updates on that. But at the whether he was drunk or whether he was sober and he was just being a you-know-what. At that time, I'm like, you know what? I don't want this guy now. I don't want him. And now I'm back to like, he's coming to Buffalo, and if he comes in Friday, and we hear that he doesn't leave, and Brandon Beane wants him, and he works his magic, which if Beane wants OBJ, I think he's going to get him. Then I don't know how I'm going to feel. I guess I'd be happy. I guess I'd be happy to have OBJ because if he can return to form, he's immediately our number 3 receiver and maybe our number 2. But then that's a whole nother can of worms. He hasn't played football for almost a year. He's not in an offense. I mean, how effective can he be coming off of injury, getting into an offense, not having played? I'm not sure he would be really something that will help us in our Super Bowl run this year. It might help us next year, but I don't know about this year. And from what I understand, OBJ wants like a long-term contract. Now, after the shenanigans he pulled on Sunday morning, I don't know. I think Dallas, they probably don't care. I think OBJ could have probably stormed the cockpit and took over the plane and flew it into the control tower. The Cowboys would still want OBJ. I don't know that the Bills are going to want him. I think they might be just doing Von Miller a favor by bringing him in. But anyway, he could be coming here. And if he's coming here, I don't know how I feel. I think it could help the offense. Here's the guy that is still available that I think the Bills might want to consider bringing in. And that's T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton is still a free agent. And I think he's going to be signing somewhere in the next week. And as long as he's healthy, I think he would be an upgrade at the third wide receiver position. Again, he'd have to come in. He would have to learn the playbook. But I think at the very least, he may not be an upgrade, but he would be a suitable replacement if the Bills need him, if Isaiah McKenzie goes down, if Khalil Shakir goes down, if Jamison Crowder doesn't come back. Noah says, well, first we got John Ross, maybe. And then Noah just recently said he's an old man, T.Y. Hilton. Well, yeah, I know he's older. I guess the Bills, if they wanted to go back to an old wide receiver, they could get Emmanuel Sanders, right? So, again, but the Bills, I think, very well could add a wide receiver here down the stretch, whether it's T.Y. Hilton, OBJ, or another wide receiver that might be out there. I want to know what you guys think. Do you guys want OBJ? If you wake up Saturday morning and it turns out Odell does not leave Buffalo and he signs with the Bills, are you happy? Are you happy that we have OBJ? Are you happy for nothing else than because OBJ came to Buffalo? We'd love to know what you guys think about that. Joe says, what do we got, Joe? Where'd your comment go? Joe saith, oh, yeah, here we go. Joe says, think we are fine at wide receiver. Why not play Shakir? Oh, yes. Yes, and I have a take on that. But yes, every time that kid has touched the ball, I mean, it's electric. He gets the ball and gets right upfield. He's an upgrade for sure, from what I can tell, from Cole Beasley. So Noah says, I love Shakir, but we know how McDermott is with rookies, rarely plays them. Very good. And this is what I think is going to happen with, now I'm going to get to my Nyheim Hines and my Khalil Shakir take. I got a feeling that we're going to see a lot more of Nyheim Hines and Khalil Shakir and different play calling that we're not used to seeing in the first half of the season. In the second half of the season, especially down the stretch, especially these division games. You watch these division games, we're going to see these guys popping. I think there's something to be said about a team that tries to keep things under wraps for a little while, keep it out of the game film that the opposing teams watch, so you can catch a few of these, defenses off guard with the guys that you insert into the lineup, into the formations, and the types of plays that you see. I think we're going to see a whole lot more of Nyheim Hines over the next 4 weeks, and we're going to say, well, there he is. And then, of course, what we're going to say is, well, why didn't we do this, in the Vikings game? Why didn't we do this in the Jets game? Do we have when we played the Jets? That's what I think is going to happen. And as you remember, the last two seasons, the second half of the seasons, 2020 and 2021, the Bills really started to dominate. They really started to dominate. And on offense, they're, for the most part, healthy. And so I think we're going to start seeing Josh Allen and the offense dominate again. All right, would be very happy. He's OBJ, like it or not, his personality or not. People didn't like Diggs at all, but then he got traded and completely took on the culture. Great point. That's a very good point. I think OBJ thinks he's too big for culture. I'm not so sure we could sell him on, being a solid, humble and hungry teammate. But you never know. I don't think he'd be a cancer in the locker room. I really don't. He's not like a Terrell Owens. So I think OBJ, again, if he's healthy, would help this team down the stretch. I do. And I would have to kind of hold my nose to know that he's on the team. And listen, boys and girls, this is a very good possibility. Odell Beckham could end up on this Bills team in the next 72 hours. Very much so. Very much so. And you got to remember, when it comes to players like this, they're, with their history and their history of being divas or being, troubled players on a roster. Brandon Beane, remember, traded for Brown. Remember that from the Steelers? What's his name? He's been out of the league for a year and a half, 2 years now. Brown. What the hell is his first name? Holy cow! Why am I forgetting his name? Antonio Brown, right? There's a guy that Brandon Beane traded for. So could he make a move on OBJ? Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. All right, Dorsey needs to start figuring out some new schemes. No more resting on Dable's work. I agree with you on that one. And that's I think a problem, has been a problem, especially in the red zone, is Dorsey's inability to draw up the right plays for Josh Allen. And I think Josh Allen, as a result, is trying to do too much. All right, so we hit on a few things here. Von Miller's injury may or may not play against the Jets like he wants to. I'll be surprised if he does, but then again, what would really surprise me if he comes back and he's really effective. Dude was on pace to get like 15 sacks this season, so that just absolutely stinks. OBJ, would I want him? Yeah. Yeah, I'd take OBJ. I mean, it would be exciting for the city. And honestly, what's really important is whether or not he, contributes to the team. And I think he would. I think by the playoff time, he'd be a good contributor. Let me ask you this. How much would you want OBJ if you knew, if you could see it, if you had ability to see in the future, and you see that in 3 weeks, Gabe Davis goes down for the rest of the season with a knee injury? Would you like OBJ to sign here in Buffalo on Friday? If you know that Gabe Davis is going to be out, period, no playoffs or nothing, would you want OBJ? I know you can't make decisions like that with your roster on fear of losing players, but you do need, at times, some insurance. So if it's not OBJ, I still would like to see T.Y. Hilton come in. I really wish Cole Beasley could some way come back, but I guess he just completely burned the bridge with the Bills, so that's not going to happen. Joe says yes. I think you're saying yes, you would want OBJ for that reason. And Noah says Josh went from a nearly perfect 60 touchdown to 2 interception ratio in the end zone. Oh, yeah, coming into the season to around 80 touchdowns, 8 interceptions at this point. Well, he's definitely making some horrible decisions in the red zone. And it's disappointing, but at the same time, it kind of makes you feel good because you know that if you get rid of even half of those, we're going to win all those games. So this team does not worry me at all. Our only legitimate loss was to the Jets, right? I mean, you could call it a legitimate loss, even though we're winning that game 14-3. The Jets played a pretty good game. We made enough mistakes. The Dolphins game we should have won, and obviously the Vikings game. Vikings game we win. Josh Allen just needs to be able to take that snap at the goal line, which, oh my gosh, I get a headache when I think about that. So, Von Miller, OBJ, I guess a yes on that for me. It sounds like a yes for most of you guys, although, again, I think you guys are like me. You just got to hold your nose when it comes to that situation. The offense is going to start clicking with these players that we've been waiting to see. Khalil Shakir, Nyheim Hines specifically. I think we're even going to see more of Dawson Knox than we have. Look for him to get into the offense. Of course, he's caught quite a few passes over the last few weeks, so he's been making a difference. And Josh Allen, I guess, still dealing with somewhat of effects from his elbow, wearing a brace, but I don't know how much that is making a difference. I'll tell you what, though, the kid is running a lot more. Not sure I am thrilled about that, but he's doing what he's got to do to will this team to victory. Thursday, tomorrow night, the Patriots. Now, the Patriots are 6-5, but they're not a bad team, and they have got to have this win. They have to have this win. So, I mean, this is pretty much their season right here, which Vegas has Buffalo as a 4-point favorite. And, we've been seeing too much of the Bills just slugging along, sluggish, coming out of that game against Detroit, sluggish, just even against the Browns, even though we had a big lead, that game only ended up like, what, an 8-point difference? So, I don't know. I think the key to the Patriots game, as always, is to not turn the ball over. But also, I think we're trying to run the ball more, and that's a good thing. Real quick, before I end the stream, I want to give you my top 10 new power rankings because, that's what you guys want to know. You guys want to know what this middle-aged guy in his basement thinks, who he thinks are the top 10 teams in the NFL, and especially you want to know where I have the Bills ranked, right? Of course you do. Well, here you go, and then we'll finish up on the other side.
My top 10 starts with the New York Giants. They move up despite a loss to the Cowboys, but they hung in there. Could they actually make the playoffs? At number 9, it's the Ravens. They drop after a heartbreaking loss to the Jaguars, and because of Lamar Jackson's filthy tweet to a fan. At number 8, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. They took care of business against the Titans. Don't look now, but the Who Days have won 5 of their last 6. At number 7, I have the Minnesota Vikings. They move up a spot after their bounce-back game against the Patriots. At number 6, I have the Miami Dolphins. They stay idle after covering against the Texans. Also staying put, the 49ers. They hold on to the 5th spot after blanking the Saints 13-0. Dropping to number 4, it's our Buffalo Bills. They barely escaped Detroit with a win against the Lions. At number 3, I have the Dallas Cowboys. They're pulling it all together at the right time. Look for OBJ to land in Big D very soon. At number 2, it's the Philadelphia Eagles. They ran all over the Packers, and I mean all over the Packers, rushing for 363 yards. And staying at number 1, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. They took down the Super Bowl champs, but that's not a very big deal these days. The Rams absolutely suck.
Oh, there you go. My top 10, I have the Bills dropping to 4. I mean, they didn't play very well against the Lions, at least not like we expected them to. And I don't know. I just can't put them any higher than 4 right now. I can't put the Dolphins ahead of them, though. A lot of people are bought in that Tua and the Dolphins are good. I'm not there yet. I am not there with the Dolphins just yet. I will be if they can hang with us in Buffalo in a couple weeks, 3 weeks. So, and one last thing before I cut you guys loose. I had fun looking at the power rankings at this time of the season last year to see how they were ranked. And I'll tell you what, the Rams were at 8. The Bills were at, I think, 6. The top team, I think, ranked at this time last season in the power rankings was the Arizona Cardinals. So what does that tell you? It tells you stuff changes quick, man. Stuff changes quick. You know what's going to also change real quick? Buffalo Bills' position in the AFC East standings. We are going to be in first place real soon. A couple weeks, if not this week, we're going to see our boys back on top of the East. I'm going to be live streaming this game tomorrow, so bring your friends and family. Invite your neighbors. The guy jogging down the street that you've never met. Call him into the house and tell him, hey, yo, you got to watch this idiot do a live stream. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to try to give away this hat and this pullover, for God's sakes. So, on one of my videos, tonight, the stream, or my video yesterday, go ahead and give me your prediction, and if you get it exactly right, I will send you a hat and a pullover. I might even have my kids sign it for you. Who knows? All right, a lot of fun. Thanks for hanging out with me a little bit. Good night, Steve. Remember, we got 74 days until the Buffalo Bills win Super Bowl 57. Ha ha.